Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new ESO news video. That's what I meant to say, ESO news video. And today is the official launch of Dragon Bones and Update 17 on live servers. So it is no longer on PTS. So this is patch 3.3.5, official launch of Dragon Bones. And I have to say, I'm kind of excited to get in and start actually playing the content. A lot more on live. Even though I did spend a lot of time in the dungeons during the PTS for the first 2 weeks, I'm kind of excited, excuse me, to get in and actually play on live servers. Because now, now it counts. So let's go ahead and go over the patch notes and what's coming with it. So we all know what this is. Just says basically, welcome to Elder Scrolls Online, blah, blah, blah. If you have ESO Plus, you automatically get access to the DLC, but if your ESO Plus runs out, you do not have access to the DLC anymore unless you purchase it. There's a lot of cool things coming in this update. The outfit system, the storage system, and some new combat changes coming into the game. We'll go over all this stuff as we get through it. So let's just go skip through all this, and we're going to start with the 2 new dungeons. First off is Fang Lair. Fang Lair was once a large Dwemer mine. Their glory, however, was laid low by the dragon Thorvakin centuries ago. The dragon used the Dwarven halls as its lair for uncountless years, so much so that the original name of the mine was lost and it became known as Fang Lair. Thorvakin eventually passed, but great power remained in the Dwemer halls. Adventurers from all corners of Tamriel sought to plumb the depths of the Fang Lair to steal the treasures for themselves, and all met ruin. Now Orin the Black, a particularly powerful necromancer, and his fellows have come to enact a ritual with which to raise the ancient dragon and unleash it upon Nirn. So I'm not going to give you guys any secrets on this thing. I will just say this: it's awesome. Normal or vet, it's awesome. It's really long, but it's awesome. Moving on to Scale Color. Scale Color Peak was an ancient dragon priest dedicated to the dragon, Thorvakin. When she was living, her power was immense and her reign seemed unchecked. That is until she was betrayed by her followers and the link between her and her dragon was severed. Her cult spread to the winds to avoid persecution, but still maintained vigil for their fallen lord. Now the time has come, and the descendants of the cult of Skullcolor have the means to bring the ancient dragon priest back to life. These are really cool dungeons, both of them. If you haven't, well, when you get a chance, and this goes live, make sure you get on there and play, because these 2 dungeons are super cool. There is achievements and special unlocks. We'll go over those. So Fang Lair and Skullcolor Peak are 4-player dungeons, which can be reached via Bancori and Stormhaven respectively. Fang Lair entrance is northern Bancori near the Troll's Toothpick Delve, and Skullcolor's entrance is northeastern Stormhaven, north of Windkeep Wayshrine. So both Dragon Bones include a normal veteran and a normal version and a challenging veteran version. There is a hard mode for these dungeons. It's just you have to kind of do special things to unlock it. Because I don't think there's scrolls in either of them. But I could be wrong. There could be a scroll in the Fang Lair one. And then Skullcolor, it's something you have to do to activate it. You can obtain new item or unique item sets, including 2 new Undaunted monster sets, only available within the dungeons. Unique achievement rewards or awards are also available. So there's a player's skin, a hat, several titles, and unique housing items inside here. The new collectibles, Renegade Dragon Priest Mask. To get this, all you have to do is enter either one of the dungeons and you automatically get it. So you don't have to complete it, you just have to enter it. The Thorvakin trophy is in Fang Lair, and it's a skeletal dragon skull. The bust is from Veteran, and it's a bronze bust of Thorvakin. I like the trophy itself over the bust on that one. Scale Caller, defeat Scale Caller peak in veteran difficulty to get the bust or the trophy. You get Zaan. So, and then Black Morrow Necromancer skin. Complete Scale Caller peak challenger achievement and earn the right to wear these uncanny skins. And then the Worm Wizard personality. You have to beat Fang Lair challenger. Alright. So we're going to get into the new item sets. And some are going to look really powerful. But I understand this. Some are really powerful, but some are just really good for what they are. And we'll go over those, and I'll give my opinions on them. So there's 8 new sets available in the 2 dungeons, Scale Caller Peak. There's 1 light, 1 medium, and 1 monster, or 1 heavy and 1 monster in each dungeon. So there's an option to get 2 different light sets, 2 different medium sets, 2 different heavy sets, and 2 monster sets between the 2 of them. So starting with Fang Lair, we have Caloran's Legacy, which gives you spell critical, spell power, spell critical, and I think that's meant to say spell damage. And then when you deal critical damage with a single target magic ability, you launch a Fire, Ice Shock, or Disease Ball at your target that deals 12,900 damage and applies a status effect. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. Okay, I want to point this out so people are very understanding. If I was to take just the 2 and 3 piece, I'd get a spell critical and spell damage. But if I take the 4 piece, I get another thing of spell critical. If I take the 5 piece, I get this bonus. And this bonus, like if you look at the combination, if you were to take this in Julianus and put it together, you would actually get 4 things of crit, 2 big, a big thing of spell damage, a little thing of spell damage, and then you get this like the 5-piece bonus, which actually equates to wearing something like Wrath of the Imperium with Julianus and a monster set that gives you spell critical and then the monster bonus. That's why I like this set. Is it's something you can wear with a 5-piece with 2 5-piece sets. So, and it still works out to wearing like a monster set and a 3-piece set. This set does match up really well with Willpower or Wrath of the Imperium set. And then if you want to run a monster set with it, you could. But I would suggest that if you did that, to wear a monster set that's not something that's going to proc a ton of damage. I actually like this set with, I'm trying to remember what it's called. Like Seducer. This in Seducers is really good on a Magicka DPS. This in Worm Cult on a Magicka DPS can be really good. This in like Netch's Touch is really good. There's a lot of good combos with this. Moving on to the medium set. This one, I'm not going to lie, I don't really like it. But I can see its place in dungeons. Not in trials, but in dungeons. So this gives you some stamina recovery, max stamina, some more stamina recovery. And then when you cast an ability while under 33% stamina, you restore 9,000 stamina. This effect can occur once every minute. In most boss encounters in a dungeon, they can take anywhere, like depending on if you're doing it on vet or hard mode. If you're doing vet mode, some of the bosses can take over a minute. So like if you burn through all your stamina, you'll get, boom, 9,000 stamina. And it can happen every 1 minute. Well, it takes a minute to get from that boss to the next boss, so it kind of plays off that idea of like moving between the bosses and doing the major, burn through of resources and then getting resources back. But this is really just a good set for dungeons, not for trials. I mean, it could work in trials, but honestly, I'd be leery about using it. And with all the stamina recovery you're gonna get anyways from the 2 and 4 piece, you really don't. This last part really doesn't really play in there because you're not going to be burning through that much stamina in a short fight. This might actually be good in a trial. Now that I think about it, but it's up to the player. I can't decide on that. Ulfnor's Favor. This is actually a really, really good set for tanks. I wouldn't say that it would take the place of like Torreg's Pact, but it could take the place of like Eben if you're having issues with resource management, because with this, whenever you complete a heavy attack, you get 30% more resources. But let's go over the 2 to 4 piece first. So the 2 piece is max health. I mean, the jewelry already is healthy. you're going to get the 3 pieces magic recovery and stamina recovery. So you get a little bit of both, which is kind of nice. And then healing taken. A lot of people don't realize how good that really is. It is a really good one to have. And then the 5 piece, increase your magic or stamina return from your heavy attacks by 30%. So when you complete a heavy attack with heavy armor, if you're wearing 5 pieces, you're going to get 25%. Your base is 30%. And that's 65 or 55. And then with like tenacity from the champion points, you can get it up to like 69%. Well, you add another 30% to that. It's almost 100% return of your resources. And that can play really well on your character, especially one heavy attack giving you almost 100% of your resource return. Thorvikin, the monster set. Now, this is actually a tank set. This is not a DPS set, but it can be. But it's really a really good tank set. When nearby enemies damage you, summon a growing pool of desecrated bile for 8 seconds. Enemies in the bile receive 430 disease damage every 1 second and are affected with minor maim and minor defile, reducing their damage done and healing received by 15%. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds. So it lasts for 8 seconds. This thing has no cooldown. Like, it just constantly goes off. It stays going all the time. And it keeps minor maim applied the whole time, all 8 seconds. It keeps minor defile the whole time for the entire 8 seconds. That's a really powerful monster set for a tank to use. Because you get minor maim like all the time. You get minor defile all the time. So it's actually a really good set. Moving on to Skullcaller, Jovial's Guidance. Now this is a healer set. And it's a really good, like, actually, I don't want to say just healer. It's a Magicka person support set, but it's a really good one to use on a support character that's running, like, Warhorn or Combat Prayer and things like that. Things that apply major and minor buffs and damage shields. So the 2-piece is magic recovery, 3-piece magic recovery, 4-piece is 2% healing done, and then the 5-piece increases the duration of all major, minor buffs, and damage shields you apply to yourself and allies by 40%. That's a really long time. Like, the duration is increased, and some of those, like the damage shields normally last for 6 seconds, go to 8 or 10 seconds, I forget now. But like the buffs, like Warhorn, lasts like 40-something seconds. So it's really a really good set. Combat Prayer, the Minor Berserk, usually lasts for 8 seconds. Or so many seconds, and it, you know, now it lasts like 12. So it does help. And I can say this. I can see one healer in Trials running this with spell power, and the other one running Worm Cult in spell power. But we'll have to see. Next up is Plague Singer. Really kind of a good medium armor DPS set, because it gives you weapon damage, max health, and weapon damage. So it gives you 2 things of weapon damage, 1 thing of max health. A lot of people were saying that it's more of a tank set, but it's actually really good on the DPS. So when you take damage, you summon a Skeever Corpse, which will launch a poison ball that deals 5,160 damage every 1.5 seconds to the nearest enemy for 6 seconds. So basically it's going to hit them 4 times, and this effect is going to occur once every 15 seconds. Not very good for a DPS, but I can see where people are saying it's more of a tank thing, because it's when you take damage, and then the fact that it's every 15 seconds instead of like every 10 or something like that. Next up is Curse of Dolomesh. This is a heavy armor set, really good, powerful heavy armor set in my opinion. So first off, you get 2 things. Really, I'll say this. This is more of an off-tank set. So you get 2 things of health. So the 2-piece, 3-piece max health, 4-piece is spell damage and weapon damage. And then the 5-piece, when you hit a taunted monster with a fully charged heavy attack, or any enemy that is stunned or immobilized with a fully charged heavy attack, you deal an additional 12,040 physical damage This effect can occur once every 7 seconds. So there is no proc chance. This will happen whenever you do a heavy attack and the monster's taunted, immobilized, or stunned. So this is like a way to boost your DPS as an off tank. And I could see this like for the main tank wearing Eben, and Torix pack, this one wearing this set, and maybe like Thorvikin with it, and the Ulfnars. That would be a really good combo for an off tank to use, because it's going to give them a lot of damage capability while they're tanking. Now we're going to come to the final monster set, and this is the one everybody loves, Zaan's. First, the one-piece bonus is spell critical, so you only have to wear that and you get extra spell critical. The next one, when you deal critical damage with a light or heavy attack to a nearby enemy, a beam of fire will connect to your enemy. This beam deals 3,440 flame damage every second for 5 seconds, and every second the damage is increased by 50%. So, 1 second, no bonus. 2 seconds, 50% more. 3 seconds, it's doing 100% more damage, so you're doing 6k damage. At 4%, you're doing 150% more damage. When it hits on that 5th tick, it's doing 200% more damage. So it's doing 9,000 damage on that final tick. This thing can bust out in one burst something like 28k damage. It's pretty powerful. The beam is broken if the enemy moves 10 meters away from you. The effect can occur once every 15 seconds. Now this is the bad part. So it lasts for 5 of the duration. So when it activates, that 15 seconds kicks in. So for 5 of those seconds, you get the beam. For 10, you don't. So it will go off a lot. Like every 5 to 10 seconds, it will, or every 15 seconds, this is going off. But you have to be within 10 meters. Most boss AoEs are 10 meters. So you're going to be either right on the edge of it, or you're going to be in it when it goes off. So you have to be really careful when using this set. Don't try to be right up on the boss all the time. But yeah, really powerful set. And that's it for the monster sets and the gear sets. I like a lot of these. And like I said, the Curse of Dolomesh, I did test it. It's a very powerful off-tank set. Not something I'd use on a main tank, but an off-tank most definitely. And the thing is that this damage here is almost equivalent to that of Alkosh in its damage proc. It doesn't do what Alkosh does, but for a tank, you know, getting any kind of extra damage is going to be beneficial to you. But the fact that this gives you 2 things of max health, the spell damage, weapon damage, and then you can actually wear Julianus with this, or you can wear Hudding's Rage with this, and have a good combo for your character, and you'll get a decent amount of health out of it. You can still rock on a, let's say an Argonian, you can still rock, you know, 35k health in that set, while wearing something like I said, like Kvetch's, Hunting's Rage, Nightmother's Gaze. You know, if you were to wear Alkosh with it, you know, you're going to get 2 things of weapon damage, which is kind of nice, but you're only going to get that little 1 bit of crit. So, like, it's good, but it's not that good. Now, this in combination, like I said, this in combination with this, with Orvikin, is a really good set. Like, combo. And it's really powerful on a tank. So, alright, so we're getting new achievements. Dragon Bones comes with more than 35 new achievements, including 4 new titles to unlock. Complete both dungeons on veteran difficulty to unlock the Necrosis purple die. It's kind of a weird looking die, but it's cool. And then, moving on. Morrowind, new Battlegrounds. So we're getting 2 new Battleground maps for those who like the Battlegrounds. Both are really cool. Didn't really get too much into the Battlegrounds thing because I was too busy testing builds and dungeon stuff. But they are really cool. I'll just leave it at that. But there's more Kazgor, which is on a mountaintop stronghold. Has been the center of Orcish culture since whatever, like Orsinium. It's pretty cool. It's like an Orcish stronghold, and then you have the Deeping Drone which is a lost dwarven race place. It's pretty cool. This one I like more. I do admit that. Deeping Drome I like more than the other one. Probably because it's more confined, where the other one's kind of open. Alright, moving on. Base game updates. Outfits. So the new outfit system. The new outfit system is now available and allows you the freedom to customize the visual appearance of your characters, including both the style and dyes. With outfits, you can determine the appearance of every aspect of your characters piece by piece, regardless of what you are and aren't wearing underneath. So to begin with, customizing your outfit, simply locate an outfit station, which are available in most cities, displayed on the map. Whatever. They're basically wherever there was a dye station is an outfit station. And they say that right here. In addition to dyeing your equipment and armor, hats, and costumes, as it did before, these updated stations now also allow you to create and customize the style and dye choices of each of your outfits in exchange for gold. You can freely preview as many changes to outfits as you like and will only be charged when you finalize your choices. You can purchase an outfit change token at the Crown Store, which will allow you to completely bypass the cost of gold on an outfit change. You can always choose whether to use gold or outfit change token, which finalizes your selection. So basically, when you go to these outfit stations, you can change the appearance of your character's armor. Now, heavy armor, like if you're wearing you're a tank and you're wearing heavy armor, you can change it to any armor type. So you can change its look. Not the material, the look, to look at like any armor type, but you're still wearing that armor. It just kind of overlays it over your character. And it's going to cost you gold to just change individual pieces. Like if you just change individual pieces and dye those pieces, it's going to cost you gold. If you change all of it, it's going to cost you more. And depending on the rarity of the style, the motif that you use to change the style to, it's going to cost you even more. The highest you can go up to, I think, is 28,000 in total cost. Gold for the dye and the outfit. You can change weapons also. And weapons change with their respective type. So dual wield can change with any one-handed weapon type. So like if you have sword and dagger, you can change it to a mace and axe if you want. And you can change the appearance of between any of the motives you have. So you have to unlock motives in order to do a style. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck with what's there. Now, any motive you have on every character, like you want to log in on every character when you first log in to unlock all the motive styles that all your characters have. Then when you go into the outfit station, you'll have access to those on any character. So they kind of say that the primary way to learn outfit styles is by reading motif books and chapters. In addition to unlocking the ability to craft it in that style, learning a motif now also teaches you about how to apply the style to your outfits. As outfit style knowledge is an account-wide collectible, learning how to craft helms in the glass style, for example, on any character allows you to use that to override the appearance of the helm slot of any outfit or any of your characters, on any of your characters. These styles collectibles are retroactively unlocked for all styles you already know and how to craft after logging in with a character with the associated motive knowledge. So that's what you're going to want to do this update. Log in on all your characters, get all those motives transferred into your styles section, and these are in your like when you hit U and you go into your collections, there's going to be a section there called styles now, and you can see all the style options you have available. Each slot in an outfit can be customized individually. Any weight of equipment can be used in your outfits for a given slot. This means an outfit can override the style of your chest slot, so it looks like heavy armor cuirass, even when you're wearing light armor, jerkin, or leather jack, but cannot make your feet look like they are wearing gloves instead of boots. Yeah, I get what they're saying. So you can't put boots on your feet, okay? Or boots on your hands. That's it. This selection and appearance persists while the outfit is active, even if you change your equipped armor. Yeah, the appearance is always there. So no matter what you put on, it will always look the same as what your outfit is. The hide helmet option has been replaced with a hide polymorph helmet option, and the general functionality of your hide helmet has been moved to a collectible hat. So if you want to hide your helm, just hit U and go to appearances, and the first one in the hat option is going to be where you hide your hat now. Each outfit selection can also be recolored, similar to equipment dyeing, using the same dyes you've unlocked via the achievements. Now, that means any dyes you have unlocked, they're account-wide, which we already know, but now they're part of the outfit station as well. So you can either dye your armor, or you can change the outfit and dye it. You can customize the primary... In addition to armor, weapons can also be be visually designed throughout the outfit system. Weapon slots are divided into one-handed weapons, shields, two-handed weapons, bows, and staffs. So you can only change them with the respected versions. So like one-handed weapons can only be changed with one-handed weapons. Shields can only be changed with shields. Two-handed weapons can only be changed with other two-handed weapons. So if you have two-handed sword, axe, or mace, they can only be changed with those. The same with one-handed weapons. Bows can only be changed with bows. So you can't have a staff that's a bow. Okay? You just can't do it. You can customize the primary and backup weapons in an outfit separately, and will also see the weapon types that you are currently have equipped. You can simply swap weapons to change which weapon types you are customizing, or swap weapon sets to adjust your other sets. If you only override the appearance of two-handed weapons in your active outfit and then change to dual wielding, you will see equipped weapons without the style override. So basically they're saying if you use a two-handed sword and you switch to dual wield, and you change the appearance of that two-handed, it will still only change the style for the two-handed, not the dual wield. So it won't give the appearance like, oh hey, I'm using dual wield and I have a two-handed sword. It doesn't do that. Please note that the costumes, polymorphs, hats, and disguises will always override any armor styles in your applied outfit. So that doesn't matter what you're wearing, any polymorph, hat, or disguise will always override even your outfits. Additionally, weapon slots and outfits can be dyed as desired, utilizing the same dyes available for armors. Yes, really. That's the best part about this, is we can actually dye those weapons. No, the best part is the fact that we can hide the monster set look. Because some of those monster sets are just... And now we can put it behind like, hey, guess what? Look at me now. I wear a hood instead of this ugly chokethorn mask. Material dyes. In addition to the existing dyes, we've also added a new category of material or mixed dyes. These dyes correspond to the color of gear crafted for each of the 10 ranks of durable materials, and are each unlocked by deconstructing a piece of equipment made from these materials of that rank. For example, deconstructing an iron axe will unlock rank 1 material dyes, which matches the colors found in iron, rawhide, jute, and maple equipment. This allows you to be flexible to recreate any look you may have found appealing while leveling up through various tiers of equipment. This is actually really cool, these new dyes. So, multiple outfits. Everyone will receive 1 free customized outfit per character. So you'll get 1 outfit slot per character on your account. So if you have 14 character slots, all 14 characters will have 1 character or 1 outfit slot. You can buy additional outfit slots for crowns, only crowns, and the outfits are character specific. So you can customize each character uniquely right off the bat. Once an outfit is set, you can switch between outfits at no cost at any time via the following. So character UI screen, new equipment styles, category of the collection system, and the outfit station interface itself. So if you purchase more outfit slots, these outfit slots are not account wide, they're per character. So if you wanted all 10 slots per character, you have to buy all 10 per character. Well, you have to buy 9 on each character, 9 additional ones on each character. And then at any time, you can open your character screen. There's a drop down now that says outfit 1, 2. You can even name the outfits. there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do with the outfit system. Moving on, you may also deactivate an outfit at any time, which will return your appearance to showing your current equipped gear and cosmetic collectibles. Outfits can also be named as you see fit to help you keep track of your growing wardrobe. And then converting. Convert to Imperial, convert to Moricon are no longer used from the inventory on specific items and are instead incorporated into the outfit system. If you possess these collectibles, the Imperial and Moricon outfit styles are automatically available and do not cost gold to apply to your outfits. This means anyone with these account upgrades can choose to make any outfit slot on any character appear in Moricon or Imperial styles for free of cost without actually modifying the item itself, which is kind of cool. Furnishing stations. Dye stations found in homes are visually unchanged, but have been upgraded to the full outfit station functionality. A new furnishing with the visual of the new outfit station is now available on the new Master Ritz achievement mediator, wherever they are. Purchased is unlocked by completion of Alliance style Master achievements, which can be earned by learning all 9 of the starting racial styles, not including Imperial. So all you have to do is get the Alliance style Master. Boom, you've got access to purchase the new outfit station. And if you have the old dye station, it works the same. New storage furnishings. This is another big thing in the update. We're pleased to introduce a new form of collectible storage furnishings. These are account-wide items. Allow you to store 30 or 60 items per collectible depending on the size. You can acquire 4 30-slot coffers and 4 60-slot chests for a combined total of 360 storage slots. All 4 coffers share the same visual appearance, but each has a unique name, and can be nicknamed for easy organization. Chests work in the same way with their own shared appearances. Now, before I get into this, I'm going to tell you guys, this is a great system. You can put all these coffers and chests into all your houses. So any house you go to, you'll have access to the same chests and coffers. So let's say I put all of them in one house and put it in another house. Any items I put into those chests in one house are automatically in that other house as well. So because it's like a shared bank across these 360 storage slots. So if you say, for example, put a bunch of your monster sets in one of the storage chests, and you have it in this one house, but you want to have it in another house, any monster set you put in there will be in that other house as well. So it's transferable, kind of like a bank, but it's in your house. They are not attached to your personal bank at all. Now, any item, like crafting items and stuff you put in these, they do not transfer to being craftable. You cannot craft from these chests. It isn't included. So the nice thing about this is kind of nice both for subscribers and non-subscribers. Non-subscribers can use the house storage system for a place to store their extra gear sets and things like that. They can open up their bank to be just for crafting materials, and then for subscribers, they have their craft bag, so their bank can become storage for extra gear, and their house can have storage for extra gear, which is really cool. Alright, so to use the storage furnishing, first travel to your home and navigate through the storage selection and service category of the housing editor to place a collectible. Once you've placed a storage furnishing, you can use it at any time to deposit or withdraw items from the particular collectible. Each one has its own storage, which is separate from all other storage. So they're individual chests. So like if you put all 4 coffers, if you put like shoulders in one, monster shoulders in one, and the other one you put monster helms, if you go and place the other 2 coffers you have, they're going to be empty. Those 2 that have the shoulders and the helms, that's all they're going to have. And then you can go place them in another house and have those monster helms and stuff. You can also rename them. Since these collectibles can be, you can place each one in as many homes as you like, and will see the same items regardless of which home, as I said. You can purchase storage coffers and chests from Achievement Mediator. the Crown Store, or from Telvar merchants. You can also earn storage coffers from the Level Up Advisor, detailed below, upon reaching level 18. So let's go on down the line down to Master Writs updates. Now this is kind of cool. There's some new things in the Master Writs. I'm not going to go over this too much because I don't do a lot of Master Writs stuff. But there's just some new things that they've added to them, and it's not really a whole lot. So the Level Up Advisor, this is a new system. This is for anyone, free. This is one of the free systems. Same with the storage chests. These are free. The outfit system is free to everyone. You do not have to buy Dragon Bones to gain this access. You get it automatically. So the Level Up Advisor, this new system is designed to teach new players about the many facets of combat and progression in ESO. It contains useful rewards for new and veteran players alike as you progress from 2 to 50. And every 5 levels you will receive a milestone reward with something special like a mount, crown crate, costume, or a helpful weapon. Simply open the character UI to claim your rewards. Below is a list of the milestone awards. So 2 green quality rings, part of a basic 2-piece set, 2-piece item set that grants max health bonuses. This is what you get at level 5. At level 10 you get a Cyril horse. This is the 10,000 gold horse that was in the stable merchant. It is now free. So like if you already own it, you can't get it again when you do this. You won't get that milestone because you already have it purchased. But new players will get this at level 10. Now, if you haven't gotten a horse yet, I would suggest make a new character, level them up to level 10, get this horse for free. Now you have a mount on all your characters. So, level 15, a choice of 6 blue quality weapons. At level 20, a costume of choice at and a fire astronaut crown crate. Now remember, these milestone rewards, if you've already earned them on one character, you cannot earn them again. Like, you can get the costume piece, but you can't get the crown crate. You can't get the surreal horse a second time. You know, it's just... At 25, a choice of 6 purple quality weapons. At level 30, you get 4,000 gold and another crown crate. You will always get the 4,000 gold, but not the crown crate. 35, a choice of 10 purple quality crafting improvement materials. Level 40, 6,000 gold, the prisoner rags outfit style, and an outfit token. So you do get an outfit token for free, and then level 45, an undaunted key. Instead of getting a mail like we used to with the undaunted key in it, you will get it at level 45 automatically. I don't think they give you 2 keys, but I didn't like really test the level advisor system. Level 50, 10,000 gold and a fire astronaut crown crate. So you got to understand, at every milestone you will get this crown, you will get this like a costume piece, you will get the 4,000 gold, you will get 6,000 gold, 10,000 gold, but you can only get the crown crates once. Skill advisor, this is a really cool system. This new system makes recommendations on how to spend skill points based on a build you select. You can use this system to mold your character as you're leveling up, or to help you re-specialize your build after reaching max level. To support this system, we've made some adjustments in the UI. The skill menu has been modified to accommodate the skill advisor system. Abilities and morphs will now be listed as recommended based on the build selected. Morphed abilities will now display their base ability name in their tooltips. Note that the skill advisor can be toggled off at any point. So the skill advisor system is basically a tool somebody can use to guide them in a role. So like they have like a base role, they have like an all-around role is what I like to call it, and then they have like a magic DPS role, a stamina DPS role, a tank role, and a healer role for all classes. Now these are roles that kind of help you understand the game. I really wish they would have like re-referenced that in here. It's to understand your role in the game. Like, okay, I choose to be a magic DPS. These are the skills that they advise me to use. They are not, oh, I have to use these. Guys, please understand that. You don't have to use them. It will suggest what they think is better for you. And sometimes the skill choices they give you are really good. Sometimes they can be kind of, questionable. But it's still a really good system to help new players understand the role system. And it does help, like, existing players who don't play the roles find a role. So, it is a cool system. Next up, the champion point system. The champion points has been increased by 30 to a total of 720, so 10 per tree. And then the champion point experience curve has been automatically adjusted with this new cap, so earlier champion points require less experience and can be earned faster. Now they do this every update. They add new champion points, a new champion point cap. They readjust the experience and how fast you get them and everything else. Now we're coming to a section that a lot of people overlooked when on PTS. The 32-bit client removal. If you are running a Windows 32-bit operating system, you will not be able to play the game after this. Sorry, but it's part of what they're doing with this update. They're removing the 32-bit client. And no, you cannot download a 64-bit client on a 32-bit system, operating system, and expect it to work because of how it does work. So you kind of have to upgrade to Windows 10. Or you have to upgrade to the latest version of Windows 64-bit operating system. Or if you're running like Ubuntu or one of those not Unix, you guys know what I'm talking about, Linux systems, you have to make sure you have the 64-bit version. If you're running like Apple software, you have to make sure you run the 64-bit version in order to continue playing Elder Scrolls after today. So I did mention this when I did the patch notes on PTS. I'm mentioning it again now. It's really important people know this because a lot of people are going to be really mad when they go to log in and can't play the game because they're running Windows 32-bit and not Windows 64. Alright, so moving on. Clockwork City updates. Nothing really major here, just some general fixes, things like that. Some quest fixes. Dark Brotherhood, same thing. Dungeon content for Horns of the Reach, they fixed a few thing with the Bloodroot Forge, and then on Imperial City they changed some. They fixed the crafting motives, the chance of obtaining Zivix. Yeah, that motive in the Daedric Cache in Imperial City is now dependent on your Talvar stone multiplier. The more stones you carry, the more likely you are to obtain a Zixian motive. If you have full 4 Talvar Stone multiplier, you are guaranteed to receive a chapter. So it's going to be easier for you to get the Zixian chapters. Next up, they adjusted tooltips on key fragments found in the Imperial City to improve clarity. And then with Morrowind, there was some adjustments to the Battlegrounds, which is cool. Battlegrounds are once again non-CP for all levels. Decrease the respawn timer for all players or player characters to 20 seconds from 30 seconds for Chaos Ball and Aid Karek. Increase the alliance points earned to your team's placement in Battlegrounds. This equates to the following. So if you're first place, you get 12,000 AP. If you're second place, you get 10,000. And if you're in third place, you get 7,000 AP. You will no longer be able to negate damage from Chaos Ball effects. Player characters can once again be interrupted while picking up relics, even if they are CC immune, which is awesome. So they just kind of some good fixes overall for Battlegrounds. Animation stuff they fixed down here, and then audio stuff, and then of course the combat changes to the Warden. So Animal Companion, Dive. The damage from this ability and its morphs can now be dodged. Yes, this is going to hurt people in PvP, but you know what? It's a good change. Green Balance, Healing Seed. Reduce the cost of this ability and its morphs by approximately 28%. This is awesome. Thank you, devs. Warden bug fixes Animal Companion. Feral Guardian fixed an issue where the Guardian's Wrath and Guardian's Savagery special attacks from this ability and its morphs could not hit some larger monsters such as St. Ohms. Now it will. Swarm, they fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs were not being considered damage over time effects for various passive bonuses and bonuses or procs. It is now, it does work off that, and it is amazing. So Winter's Embrace, Frozen Retreat, fixed an issue where the synergy from this morph would fail to teleport you to an ally targeted with your reticle. So now you can, it actually works. Itemization Exploration, some minor fixes there, some quest fixes to some of the broken quests in Morrowind, and then onto the Orsinium update. Again, just bug fixes, guys. Thieves Guild, bug fixes. And they did do something with Maw of Warkosh. They fixed the issue where some weapons and Maw of Warkosh item sets were not properly displaying their special purple visual effects. and were instead displaying effects of their enchantments. So they fixed that. Again, a few quest fixes, and then on to combat changes and balances. I'm going to go through these, and that's pretty much where we're going to leave it off, guys, because after, like, it's already been like 20 minutes I've been doing this, or almost 45, and I don't want to make the video too long. So, combat balance changes. So, general area of effect. They fixed area of effects. Area of effect abilities now deal full damage to all targets hits, including having a damage penalty after hitting 7 or more targets. Secondary effects for those area of effects abilities, snares, stuns, blah blah, are all still capped at 6 targets. So, damage-wise, there is no cap. Like, you can just throw your AoEs out and just start nuking to lots of Zerg balls down. This is cool. This will help, they're hoping it'll help spread people out in PvP. So that's what they're really trying to do. Cast time and interrupts. So if you guys don't know what cast times and interrupts are, any spell that has a cast time to it has been kind of fixed, I guess you can say, and interrupts, like how to interrupt those abilities, has been fixed. So they rebalanced and globally updated all cast time and channel abilities along with the rule set for interrupting those abilities. So the reduced movement speed penalty while casting and channeling or casting or channeling an ability has been reduced to 25% from 50%. So now it's not so bad when you cast those abilities. You can still cast them and then move. Melee cast time and channel abilities, uppercut, puncturing strikes, and some ranged abilities, rapid fire, are still exceptions to the rule and allow you to move at full speed. So you can still move at full speed with those ones. The other ones have that penalty. When an ability is interrupted, it is now on a 3-second cooldown where it cannot be used. So melee cast time and channeled abilities, uppercut, puncturing strikes, etc., ultimate abilities, soul strike, rite of passage, and the heavy attacks are still exceptions to the rule and cannot be interrupted. When a cast time or channel ability is interrupted, you will no longer be staggered, stunned, and stop balance. After the stun ends, you gain crowd control immunity. Crowd control immunity now grants immunity to all interrupt effects after a cast time or channel ability is interrupted. You will be immune to any future interrupts until crowd control immunity wears off. The rule applies to players. Monsters are still exceptions to this rule and cannot be interrupted at any time. Or can be interrupted at any time. Sorry, can. They can be. You will now see interruptible telegraphed of enemy player characters if you are casting or channeling an interruptible ability and are not crowd control immune. Okay, so synergies are getting a new update this time around too. So if you guys look synergies, we're going to go ahead and read what they say. The global changes to synergies result in them being more responsive and more rewarding to use. We've updated and fixed numerous bugs for obtaining the synergy prompt and took synergies off the global cooldown so that you can immediately use them as soon as you see that prompt. Synergies now all have a distinct visual effect to clearly communicate where and when synergies are available. Finally, many synergies were significantly buffed to ensure that it always feels worth it to use them, which you can now read more below. So, remove synergies from global cooldown and they can now be activated while using other abilities. So this basically means while you're running a rotation, you can hit X and activate synergies. Awesome. Synergies now have a shared 1-second cooldown with other synergies. Let me explain why. As synergies are now off global cooldown, this change was necessary to prevent synergy bombs, where players could activate multiple synergies in the same second. Now you can only activate one synergy every second. Synergies now display a unique, prominent visual effect indicating if a synergy is available and can be used by your character. The visual effects will be hidden if you are on cooldown for a particular synergy or otherwise unable to use synergies. Updated the tooltip for synergy abilities to better describe their effects, and the name of the synergy is now highlighted in the tooltip. Synergies will now grant the synergy prompt to the 3 closest allies to the center of the synergy, up from only 1 ally. If one ally uses synergy, the prompt will be removed, and for the other 2 allies. The Purify, Hidden, Refresh, Blood Funnel, and Blood Feast synergies are the exception to this rule. The prompt is given to all allies in the area that meet the conditions of the synergy, and the prompt will not be removed from all other allies if one ally uses it. Okay, so they fixed an issue where numerous synergies were granting the synergy prompt to the furthest ally instead of the closest, and were granting the synergy prompt to pets and NPCs instead of players. They fixed an issue where you could have multiple synergy prompts on you at one time, causing the prompt to fluctuate back and forth between the completing synergies. They fixed an issue where Supernova, Gravity Crush, and Hidden Refresh synergies had a magic cost. Some individual synergies have received additional fine-tuning and rebalancing. First off, Blood Altar. Increase the radius of minor lifesteal debuff applied by this ability in its morphs to 28 meters, up from 8. This is awesome, because I like Blood Altar. I think it's a really good ability. But the fact that it's increased to 28 meters, that's huge. Simply adjusted the visual effects due to the radius increase. The minor lifesteal debuff applied by this ability in its morphs will no longer aggro monsters. That was a problem. So they fixed that. Blood Funnel and Blood Feast morphs increase the radius and its prompts to 28 meters. Bone Wall and Spinal Surge. The prompt will now be available up to 6 seconds after Bone Surge is cast, even if Bone Shield caster's damage shield is removed. So if you cast Bone Shield and it's removed, the activation for the synergy stays around for the 6 seconds. It's crazy cool. Grants a damage shield for 100% of your max health for 6 seconds instead of 60% of your max health for 10 seconds. So they fixed that. That's really cool. And they explain why. We've shortened the duration of the damage shield to match the duration of all damage shields in the game, but increase the value of the shield to compensate. Okay, if an ally uses the synergy and applies the damage shield to you, you will now also be placed on a cooldown for the synergy. The Spinal Surge energy from the Bone Shield morph now grants major vitality, increasing instead of minor vitality. Combustion and Healing Combustion, Necrotic Orb, and its morphs fixed an issue where these were using synergies would not explode the closest orb to you. Now they will. Frozen Retreat also grants major expedition for 8 seconds after teleporting, renamed Icy Escape. Hidden Refresh, Consuming Darkness, and morphs. The prompt is now visible to allies under 70% health, up from 50%. They increased the movement speed bonus to 70% from 50%, and the movement speed bonus and heal over time are now separate components from the invisibility bonus, and will remain on your character for 4 seconds regardless if the invisibility is broken or not. Alright, Impel, Dark Talons, and Morphs. Now only damages enemies held within the Talons instead of all enemies around you. Increase the damage done by approximately 25% and renamed it to Ignite. So Dark Talons and its morphs, the Impel morph has been changed to Ignite, does 25% more damage, and it now only does damage to the enemy's health. Alright, up next, Radiant Inner Fire in its morph. So this prompt is now only visible to allies positioned further than 18 meters away from the taunted enemy. So if you guys don't know what Inner Fire is, it's the range taunt from Undaunted, and it's the Radiate one. So the prompt is now only visible to allies positioned further than 18 meters away from the taunted enemy. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Bloodspawn are Spawn, Broodlings, Black Widow, and Arachnophobia, trapping webs in its morphs. This prompt is now visible to allies positioned further than 18 meters away from the enemy. They explain why we changed some synergies such as this to only be available to ranged players. This balances the amount of synergies players can get. Synergies available to both melee and ranged players. The prompt will now be available against all enemies within the webs, even if they cannot be snared. Let me go ahead and shut that down too. Yeah, this means that prompt will be available against bosses or flying enemies. So they really did do some good with the Broodling ones. The Spider Summon now inherit your damage bonuses and Major and Minor Berserk, or the Mighty Champion passives. Fixed an issue with the Spider Summoned will throttle their attack against the same target. They will now use their bite attacks as quickly as they are able to, approximately every 1.5 seconds. This is actually a really good synergy now. If you haven't messed with it for a while, check it out. Storm Atronach. The Atronach summoned by this ability in Samorous now inherits your damage done bonus, such as Major, Minor Berserk, or the Elemental Expert Champion passive. The Atronach now also uses the highest of your Magicka and Stamina base stats instead of using an average of your Magicka and base stats. It will now use your spell, armor and spell penetration statistics when dealing damage, as well as your critical damage modifiers such as Major Force. The Atronach summoned by this ability and the summon charged Atronach morph now last for 21 seconds, up from 18 seconds. So it's really powerful now. I'll just say that. Now comes the big one, block costs. So block costs are being changed, and honestly, I like it. I know a lot of the in-game players, like the hardcore tanks, are mad by this change, but I like it. So, decrease the cost of block to 1730 from 2,160. Now, a lot of people look at that and go, well, that's not much. But it's actually 430 points less. So, 430 points less in cost. Now, the jewelry enchantment that reduced block cost, the shield play enchants, are now subtracted from the base cost first. Then percentage reductions to the cost of block are applied. This means stacking jewelry enchantments and block cost reduction passives will now be less effective than before. Ancient Knowledge, Destruction Staff passive, now reduces the block cost by 36%, up from 30%. And they say why they did this. So, the changes to block cost are meant to reduce the extreme difference between builds that specialize in blocking and the ones that do not. We lowered the base cost of block to ensure that all builds have an easier time blocking attacks without being completely drained of stamina. We also changed block cost jewelry enchants to work similar to magic and stamina cost reduction jewelry. Builds utilizing those enchantments and other reductions to block cost were too effective at keeping up. Finally, we buffed Ancient Knowledge so that it is more comparable to Fortress passive, which brings the gap between traditional sword and shield tanking and frost staff tanking closer. So, I like these changes. I'm glad they made this change, personally. I think that it really does balance out, like, the idea of a person who builds into block cost and a person who doesn't being on more of an equal footing, kind of, so that, you know, they don't feel like, oh, well, it's costing me almost 2,000 to block versus this guy over here who's getting 88 to block, you know. Now it's going to cost 336 for the base of the person running all sturdy, having 81 points in the CP for Shadow Ward, or even higher, and then using the block cost enchants will be at 336. Without block cost enchantments, it actually goes up to 500 and something. And then if you're running just the block cost enchantments with the passive from Fortress, you end up with almost the same amount of block cost as you do running Fortress and sturdy gear. So it's kind of about they're not exactly the same. I think one's like 500 something, the other one's like 695 or something. So it's like 100-point difference, but it's not massive, guys. It's really actually quite good now. So heavy attacks and off balance. Using heavy attacks against an off balance enemy will now only consume off balance debuff if the enemy is successfully stunned. So this means that using a heavy attack against an off balance enemy will not consume the off balance effect, as bosses are immune to crowd control effects. This new behavior also applies to Power Lash ability. You can use Power Lash on enemies until the off-balance effect expires or is consumed. Using a heavy attack against an off-balance enemy player character will now stun them in the same way that it stuns monsters. This new behavior also applies to Power Lash ability. You can use the Power Lash to stun enemy players. So if we get down here, using a fully charged heavy attack against an off-balance enemy will now restore double the amount of resources. Boss enemies can only be set off balance once every 15 seconds. After the off-balance debuff ends on a boss enemy, they will be immune to subsequent off-balance debuffs until immunity duration is over. Off-balance visual effects are now larger and prominent on enemy large bosses or large models. And your ground-based area effect abilities will now persist after you leave the combat rather than being removed immediately. So I want to talk about this off-balance change. Off-balance is still going to be viable, except for on bosses. So bosses have a 15-second immunity from it, but it lasts for 5 seconds. So if you do not stun the boss, which a boss can't be stunned anyways, it lasts for the duration of the 5 seconds. So when you apply this off balance, it lasts for 5 seconds. And when you're fighting a boss, now you can't remove it. It stays for the 5 seconds because a boss can't be stunned. So you will get that off balance. Now, in that 5 seconds, trying to time that window to do a heavy attack to get double resources, you're just going to have to work with it and see if it works. But I've done a lot of testing with the off balance, and it's actually pretty cool how they changed it. Alright, your heavy attacks and off balance changes. So explaining here, we changed the way that off balance debuff works in dungeons and trial situations, so there is more consistency for all groups to have this debuff is applied and used. Heavy attacks and the abilities such as Flame Lash no longer immediately consume off balance debuff against bosses, so you don't penalize your group for capitalizing on an off balance opportunity. We've also significantly increased the resources you receive when you heavy attack an off balance enemy, so builds that have sustain issues now have a clear window of time to fill their magic and stamina bars back up. Finally, bosses are now immune to off-balance debuff for a short period of time. This makes heavy attacks usage more strategic as there is a limited amount of time and blah blah blah. Alright, standardized off-balance across the game so that all applicable abilities and procs apply the effects for 5 seconds. So this will unify the off-balance mechanic into a consistent experience. You now have the same amount of time to take advantage of the target being off balance regardless of which ability activated the effect. So it's a 5-second application on all enemies. Alright, block and dodge rule set. So we've updated this several abilities so they better adhere to our block and dodge mechanics. This system is set up to be intuitive. Attacks on the ground such as fire or caltrops cannot be blocked or dodged. We also want dodging to be useful during some instances and blocking to be useful at other times. The rule set is as follows. Attacks that can be blocked but not dodged. AoE explosions such as radial sweep, spear shards, initial hit, or drain power. Beam attacks such as radiant destruction, lightning staff, and soul strike. These cannot be blocked or dodged. Attacks that cannot be blocked or blocked or dodged. Damage from on the ground such as wall of elements, caltrops, and lightning splash. These effects that are on the inside of the player character such as Daedric Curse or Backlash, damage over time effects, they cannot be blocked or dodged. Attacks that can be dodged but not blocked. Secondary effects such as penetrate, block, such as damage over time from Sunfire, the surprise attack armor debuff, or the snare from low slash snare. Block continues to provide stun immunity, so it will stop secondary effects like stun from Stone Fist. The exceptions of the rules will be stated each ability's tooltip, such as Fiery Grip, which cannot be dodged or reflected. Alright, now we're going to go over the class abilities and some of their changes. So Flame Lash, the Power Lash attack from this morph now has a 3-second cooldown. Lava Whip, this ability and its morphs no longer have cooldown when they set an enemy target off balance. Striking or stun an immobilized enemy will now always set them off balance. Searing Strike, the initial damage from this ability and its morphs can now be blocked and dodged. So the damage over time can't, but the initial hit can. Alright, Nightblade, Assassination. Assassin's Blade, the damage from this ability and its morphs can now be blocked and dodged. Grim Focus, the stacks you build towards your bow proc from this ability and its morphs will now remain if you recast the ability early or if the ability expires. The partial stacks are removed if you exit combat. So basically, Grim Focus, if you guys don't know, it's the Nightblade ability that makes you shoot an arrow. It can now be like recasted, and it just keeps the stacks of this. So if it doesn't, you know, you don't have time to cast it in that first rotation, you come back around that second rotation, it'll fire, and then it restarts the stacks. So as long as you don't fire the ability, it retains any stacks that you've built so far. And they kind of give this change makes the ability effectiveness more consistent among players of different skill levels. It still rewards more skill play, but is less punishing when someone makes a mistake. So, Teleport Strike, decrease the damage of this dealt by this ability and force by approximately 13%. And they talk about gap closers here. We decrease the damage values of numerous gap closer abilities, not just Teleport Strike, but other charge abilities such as Critical Charge, Focus Charge as well. Gap closers in ESO have no cooldowns and can hit for extreme amounts of damage. So there is very little opportunity cost in forcing your enemies to use it. Decreasing their damage ensures that ranged players utilizing movement and terrain to maintain their distance are better rewarded for their advantages. So, Shadow Image. If you are further than 28 meters away from your shade, the morph will now revert back to allowing you to summon a new shade rather than letting you attempt to teleport to the shade and fail. So they just basically make it where the shade disappears and you can recast it. Siphoning. Malevolent Offerings. Reduce the health cost of this ability and healthy offerings to 4,925 from 6,000. This just made it so much easier, so much better. Such a great ability now. Shrewd Offering, which is the other morph, Malevolent Offering morph, reduced the health cost of this ability to 4,320 from 5,940. So, as you can see, one costs a little bit less than the other one. Ajax Spear. Focus Charge. Decreased the damage dealt by this ability and its morphs by approximately 18%. Puncturing Strikes. Refactored the damage done by this ability and its morphs, so it works more intuitively with damage taken bonuses on enemies. Previously, Puncturing Strike's bonus damage is to the closest enemy would be additive, and the damage taken bonus, such as minor vulnerability, this result in increased damage to targets with minor vulnerability. They increase the width of the damage area of this ability and its force by 1 meter. It now hits targets in an 8x6 rectangle in front of them. So 8 meters by 6 meters wide, previously from 8 by 5. And then they kind of explain why they made the change. I'm not going to go over it. Dawn's Wraith, Solar Barrage. This damage from this can be blocked but cannot be dodged. Weapons, Two-Handed, Cleave. The initial damage from this ability and its morphs can now be blocked but cannot be dodged. Critical Charge, decrease the damage of the damage dealt by this ability and its morphs by approximately 11%. Critical Rush, the Critical Charge morph, decrease the damage bonus based on distance traveled granted by this morph from to 40% from 68. And then Stampede, they decrease the duration of the snare applied by this morph to 4 seconds from 8 seconds. So kind of a nice change there. And then One-Handed and Shield. Low Slash. Reduce the duration of the snare applied by this ability to 4 seconds from 12 seconds. So sad. That was like one of my favorite abilities to use to snare enemies. Now I can. And they explain why, and I don't agree with it. I don't. Shield Charge. Decrease the damage dealt by this ability and its worth by approximately 20%. They really hurt that, the shield charge, and that kind of makes me mad, but whatever. Dual wield, whirlwind. The damage from this ability and its worth can now be blocked, but cannot be dodged. Destruction shaft, elemental storm. Reduce the radius of this ability and its worth to 8 meters from 10. So elemental storm actually has a smaller radius now than it did before. World skills, soul magic, soul assault. This ability and its worth can no longer snare the enemy target, and they kind of explain why it's basically a PvP thing. Cloud swarming, bat swarm morph. You can no longer cast the materialized attack from this morph while in mid-air, so you can't do it while you're jumping like a lot of people did. Pounce, decrease the damage dealt from this ability and its worth by approximately 16%, and then the Alliance War, Assault, magic detonation. Reduce the cast time of this ability and detonation more to 1.5 seconds from 1.8. Now we're going to get into combat fixes and improvements real quick. So they fixed an issue where the stun animation from a sneak attack was showing on the enemy before your weapon or attack eventually hit them. They fixed an issue where health recovery reduction from a major and minor defile was not reducing health recovery increases from some sources such as drinks and Troll King item set. That is fixed now. They fixed an issue where damaging procs from passive abilities or item sets were not benefiting from your spell or physical penetration in some situations. And then they fixed the issue where some abilities such as lighted attacks or entropy can break invisibility on enemies if used at an exact moment they went invisible. Alright, getting into some of this other stuff. Dragon Knight, Ardent Flame. The Dragon Knight Center. They fixed an issue with the ability and its morphs could be dispelled by Negate, Magic, or Orthgar set. Flame Lash. They fixed an issue where Power Lash attack and his morph could not be dodged. Draconic Power. Reflective Scales. Fixed an issue where recasting this ability and its source would not refresh the amount of projectile reflections allowed. That is fixed. I did test this. This is fixed. Earth and Heart. Ash Cloud. Fixed an issue where this ability and source could occasionally expire too early, causing you to lose out on the final tick of damage. And then finally, the Shattering Rocks. Fixed an issue where the rank 4 of this morph was not setting secondary targets off balance. Nightblade, Soul Harvest, Deathstroke Morph. Fixed an issue where this could not be dodged. You could not dodge this morph. So now I guess they fixed where you can dodge it. Shadow Image, fixed an issue where teleporting or attempting to teleport to your shade would cause you to lose some character functionality such as the ability to mount or interact with objects. Veiled Strike, they fixed an issue with this ability and its morphs would still stun an enemy set off balance, even if they could not detect you with detection potions. Siphoning, Strife, fixed an issue where the heal over time from this ability and its morphs would still apply to you even if the enemy dodged the attack. Templar, Adric Spear, Spear Shards, fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs could not be dispelled by Negate Magic or Earth and Gore set. They can now. Dawn's Wraith, Backlash, fixed an issue where multiple Templars using this ability and its morphs against the same target would not deal the full amount of intended damage. Radiant Oppression, fixed an issue where the execute bonus damage and magic bonus damage from this morph were not multiplicative with each other. This fix will result in higher damage done with this morph, so that's really good. One-handed and shield, low size, fixed an issue where this ability and morph could not be blocked. Now it can be. And then Restoration, Healing Ward. This ability will now heal a target more reliably after the ward expires during high latency scenarios. And you never noticed it to begin with, but if you did, yeah, it sucked. Now it's fixed, and it's kind of good they did that. Heavy Armor, Unstoppable. Fixed an issue where this morph was increasing the duration of the skill by a lower amount intended for each piece of Heavy Armor War. This is actually a really good fix, guys. This actually makes this morph really good in both PvP and PvE. Alliance War, Caltrops, fixed an issue where this visual effects of this ability and its morphs would remain even after the ability had been dispelled by Negate or Earthgore. Rapid Maneuvers, fixed an issue where the buff from this ability and its morphs would be removed if you use Shadow Cloak near monsters or NPCs. Razor Caltrops fixed an issue where the initial damage of this morph had a radius of 12 meters instead of the 8-meter radius. So now it has an 8-meter radius, and you can tell. Racial Imperial skills. Red Diamond fixed the issue where this passive ability would display a generic icon of your buff tracker, blah blah blah, and trigger. And then Champion system fixed an issue in the champion abilities that reduce the cost of mechanics, core mechanics, block, sprint, and stuff. We're still working in non-champion enabled PvP. So they fixed that in the campaign system. There was 2 item sets that were balanced. So Earthgore, this item set's proc now dispels 1 enemy area of effect ability in its radius instead of all of them. And then 7th Legion, Brute. This item set's proc now has a 2-second cooldown. And they kind of explain why the set was scaling too effectively when fighting more than one opponent. The short cooldown brings the set more in line with that of that was originally intended. Itemization fixed improvements fixed an issue where numerous class abilities were not interacting correctly with overwhelming surge or innate axion item sets. And then item sets, Grand Rejuvenation. This is from the Master Staff. Fixed an issue where the stamina restore from this item set's proc was not centered on the Grand Healing cast. Now it is. Soul Shine, they fixed an issue where this item set's bonuses was not applying to the Solar Barrage morph. It does now. And then Storm Nightblade, they fixed an issue where the 2- and 3-piece bonuses were granting lower amounts of spell resistance than intended. And I'm just going to kind of just go through some of this. Like, they fixed just a lot of general fixes and stuff to things. Crafting and economy fixes. The crafting motive things. With the release of the outfit system, we've adjusted the drop rates of numerous crafting motives to help ensure certain impressive or prestigious motives retain a degree of rarity. In most cases, this reduction is marginal. The changes affect the following crafting motives. So, Aldemary Dominion, Ancient Elf, Assassin's League, Barbaric, Celestial, Jadric, Daggerfall Covenant, Dromothra, Ebonheart Pact, Mercenary, Minotaur, Outlaw, Primal, and Regatta. The class motives can now be, or the glass motives can now be purchased from Rolos Hailu with the Master Craft Mediator with vouchers. And then they fixed the issue where certain. So these ones here, what they're saying is these ones are easier to get now than they were before. But there's the other ones that were still hard are still hard to get. Transmutation geodes, they did do some stuff with this. Rewards of the worthy males now only grant guaranteed transmutation geode once per day per account. Previously, they would give guaranteed transmutation geodes once per day per character. So the chance to get transmutation geodes from additional males is unchanged. Fixed an issue where that caused the quest taking the Undaunted Pledge to unintentionally award a transmutation geode in addition to its normal rewards. They also fixed an issue where excess transmutation crystals could be lost when your ESO Plus membership expired. Crown Store and Crown Crates added additional purchase character slot, so we can purchase one more character slot, a total of 15. The look of the Telvanni Wizard costume now matches what's advertised in the Crown Store image. And then the werewolf fixed issue are preventing you from purchasing werewolf and vampire in the Crown Store. Just some other minor fixes in here. Dungeons, Blackheart Haven. The Undying Pillagers and Bone Scouts summoned by Blackheart at the very end of the dungeon will now pursue you all throughout the fighting area. So it doesn't matter where you pull Blackheart to, they will pursue. Yeah, this is pretty much it. I mean, lots of minor fixes and stuff. Quest and zone fixes, I'm glad they went through and looked at a lot of the quests, because I noticed a lot of bugs the last few times playing through. Add-ons in PvP, by the way. Add-ons will now only know about attacks that target you after they hit you in PvP areas. So people can't use add-ons that will like say, oh, guess what? I got an arrow coming at me. I can dodge roll. They can't do that. Unless they're hit first, the add-on will not work. So it just won't tell it, like, notify you right away. Did some fixes to gamepad stuff for PC and I think console, I don't know, but yeah, I'm glad they fixed those. And then gameplay health costs on ability tooltips will now be colored red to match the stamina magic costs. Guild reputation gains will now appear in the loot history UI. And that's pretty much it. Lots of really different changes, I'm going to admit. Some are, to some are going to be bad, to others are going to be great. To me, I like all the changes I went through with this update. Like the new gear sets, like the new dungeons, and love the outfit system, and love the storage system, and can't wait to get in-game and mess with these. So, but that's pretty much it for the patch notes, guys. For Dragon Bones and Update 17, they are coming out today. They could be out now, I don't know, because it took me an hour to do this, so, almost 2 hours, or almost an hour. So I hope that you guys liked the video. If you guys like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can hit that subscribe button. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and this guy might see you in game. Bye.